The stars around New Sol Station shimmered quietly in the darkness of space. Inside the massive orbital hub, thousands of people went about their daily lives. Ships came and went, carrying goods and passengers across human space. Everything seemed normal until the sensors detected something unusual. Commander Minji Pak stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, watching the holographic display with calm interest. 6 large ships had just appeared near the station. They were not human ships. The vessels looked strange, covered with bright colors and unusual patterns. They were bigger than most human ships, built to impress rather than for practical use. Captain Dai Ho Yoon walked up beside her. His gray hair and weathered face showed his many years of service. He had seen plenty of strange things in space, but this was different. This was first contact with an alien species. "They are trying to communicate," said Lieutenant Ji-won Song from her station. She was young but sharp, her fingers moving quickly across the controls. "Their message is, 'Not very polite, sir.'" The message appeared on the main screen. The alien spoke through a translation device. His voice sounded harsh and superior. "I am Ambassador Krelthos of the Velthari Collective. We have been watching your species. We have decided to offer you a place in our civilization. You will serve as mechanics and workers. Your primitive technology shows you are good with simple tools. Accept our generous offer." Minji kept her expression neutral, though she wanted to laugh. Primitive technology? The U.S. Horizon was one of the most advanced ships ever built. Its engines could fold space itself. Its weapons could destroy asteroids from 1,000 kilometers away. But she remained diplomatic. "Ambassador Krelthos, welcome to our space," Minji replied calmly. "We would be happy to discuss cooperation. Perhaps you would like to visit our station and talk in person?" Krelthos seemed surprised that she spoke so confidently. "Very well. We will come to your vessel. Prepare to receive us." An hour later, the Velthari delegation arrived. Ambassador Krelthos was tall, over 2 meters, with a body that looked like it was made of crystal. His skin reflected light in beautiful patterns. Behind him came 3 other Velthari, all looking around the human ship with obvious contempt. Captain Yoon greeted them formally. "Welcome aboard the UES Horizon. Commander Pak will show you our facilities." Krelthos barely acknowledged the greeting. He walked through the corridors, examining everything with a critical eye. "Your ship appears clean," he said, "but I assume it requires constant repairs. Show me your workshops where your mechanics work." Minji led them to the engineering section. Dr. Hyun Choi was waiting there, a slight smile on his face. He was the chief engineer, known for his brilliant mind and odd sense of humor. He had been listening to the conversation and found it amusing. "Welcome to engineering," Hyun said cheerfully. "What would you like to see first? Our antimatter reactor? The quantum communication array? Or perhaps the graviton pulse cannon?" Krelthos waved his hand dismissively. "Your translation must be wrong. You cannot have such technology. Show me your real engines, the ones that burn fuel." Hyun walked over to a large console and brought up a holographic display. It showed the ship's power core in detail. "This is our antimatter reactor. It produces enough energy to power a small city. We stopped using fuel-burning engines about 800 years ago. They were too slow and inefficient." The Velthari delegation stared at the display. One of them spoke quietly to Krelthos in their own language. The ambassador's crystalline face showed something like uncertainty for the first time. "This technology, you must have stolen it," Krelthos insisted. "Copied it from other species you encountered." Hyun pulled up another screen. "Here are the original research papers, all written by human scientists. Dr. Arya Chen developed the first stable antimatter containment field in 2247. Dr. Marcus Okafor refined the design in 2289. Dr. Yuki Tanaka created the current system in 2412. Would you like to read them? They are quite interesting." Krelthos said nothing. Hyun continued the tour, showing them the ship's weapons systems, the advanced medical bay with cellular regeneration technology, and the navigation system that could calculate jumps through folded space in seconds. With each new revelation, the Velthari grew quieter. They returned to the conference room. The mood had changed. Krelthos no longer looked so confident, but he was not ready to admit his mistake. "Your technology is adequate," he said stiffly. "But technology alone does not make a great civilization. The Velthari have culture, history, refinement that you primitives could never understand." Lieutenant Ji-won Song had been listening quietly. Now she spoke up. Would you like some refreshments while we talk? We have various beverages and foods available. Krelthos seemed about to refuse, but curiosity got the better of him. What do you offer? Jiwan left and returned a few minutes later carrying a tray. On it were several cups filled with dark, steaming liquid. The smell filled the room, rich and complex. She placed a cup in front of each visitor. This is coffee, she explained, a beverage made from roasted beans. Humans have been drinking it for over 1,000 years. Each region of Earth produces different varieties with unique flavors. Krelthos lifted the cup carefully. He had never seen anything like this. The Velthari drank only nutritional supplements carefully measured for maximum efficiency. The idea of drinking something just for pleasure was foreign to him. He took a small sip. His crystalline body seemed to shimmer. He took another sip, larger this time. For a long moment he said nothing. He struggled to find words. What is this feeling? Enjoyment, Minji said simply. Pleasure. Humans do not do things only because they are necessary. We create art, music, food, and drink because they make life worth living. Krelthos looked at his cup, then at the humans around the table. Something in his expression had changed. He was beginning to understand that he had made a terrible mistake. These were not primitive mechanics. These were not simple tool users. These were people with their own culture, their own achievements, their own way of seeing the universe. Before he could speak, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed on every console. Captain Yoon's face went hard. Report, he ordered. Jiwan was already at her station, her fingers flying across the controls. Multiple ships incoming. 30 vessels. Energy signatures match Kryn raiders. They are known hostiles, sir. They attack everyone they meet. Krelthos stood up quickly, his coffee forgotten. His face showed fear. The Kryn? Here? We must flee immediately. Our ships are not equipped for battle against them. You must evacuate this station at once. Captain Yoon looked at the tactical display. 30 Kryn ships against 12 human vessels and 6 Velthari ships. The odds were not good. The station held 50,000 civilians who could not evacuate in time. He turned to Krelthos, his voice calm and steady. We do not run. We do not abandon our people. We stand and fight. Krelthos stared at him in disbelief. You cannot be serious. You will all die. Your primitive ships cannot defeat the Kryn. Captain Yoon smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not.
Ambassador, you have made many assumptions about humanity today.
Every single one has been wrong. Perhaps you should watch and learn what we are really capable of. He turned to his crew. All hands, battle stations. Power up all weapons. Launch all interceptors. Send a message to the Kryn fleet. Tell them to surrender now or face the consequences. Krelthos sank back into his chair, his coffee cup trembling in his hand. He had come here thinking humans were primitives who needed his guidance. Now he was about to discover just how wrong he had been. In the view screen, the Kryn fleet was approaching fast, their weapons already charging. The battle was about to begin. The Kryn fleet filled the view screen like angry red stars. Their ships were ugly and scarred from countless battles. Each vessel bristled with weapons. They had earned their reputation through violence and destruction across dozens of systems. Aboard the Velthari flagship, Ambassador Krelthos watched in horror as the human ships moved into position. He had seen the Kryn fight before. They were brutal and effective. The humans had 12 ships. The Kryn had 30. The mathematics were simple and terrible. On the bridge of the UES horizon, Captain Yoon stood calmly reviewing tactical displays. Lieutenant Jiwon Song coordinated the defense, positioning each human ship with precision. Dr. Hyun Choi worked in engineering, routing power to weapons and shields. Sir, receiving transmission from the Kryn fleet, reported the communications officer. They are demanding our immediate surrender. Send our response, Captain Yoon said. Tell them they have one chance to leave peacefully. If they attack, we will defend ourselves. The Kryn response came in the form of weapons fire. 30 plasma cannons lit up space with angry red bolts. The attack was massive, designed to overwhelm any defense through sheer volume of fire. The human ships scattered, not in panic but in perfect coordination. Each vessel moved exactly where it needed to be. The Kryn weapons hit nothing but empty space where the ships had been moments before. All ships return fire, Captain Yoon ordered. Target their engines and weapons. Disable, do not destroy. What happened next shocked everyone watching. The human ships fired back with weapons the Kryn had never seen before. Blue beams of pure energy struck with surgical precision. Each shot hit exactly where it was aimed. Kryn engines exploded. Shield generators overloaded. Weapon systems went dark. Chief Bora Han sat at the weapons console, her face calm and focused. She had studied Kryn ship designs during the approach. She knew exactly where to hit them. Her fingers moved across the controls like she was playing an instrument. Every shot counted. Every shot hit. In the space between the large ships, smaller human interceptors danced like birds. Ensign Taeyang Kim piloted his fighter through the chaos with joy in his voice. His neural interface connected him directly to his ship's computer. They moved as one, weaving between Kryn cruisers, deploying smart mines that attached to enemy hulls. "This is amazing," Taeyang shouted over the comm. "Did you see that shot?" "Right through their shield generator." "Stay focused, Ensign," Lieutenant Jiwan Song replied, but there was a smile in her voice. She watched her tactical display with satisfaction. The plan was working perfectly. The Kryn were attacking with old tactics, simple and brutal. Humans had spent centuries studying warfare. They knew how to counter such attacks. Aboard the Kryn flagship, Warlord Grathkar roared in fury. His massive body shook with rage as he watched his ships fall one by one. How were these small vessels hitting so hard? How were they moving so fast? His sensors could barely track them. "All ships concentrate fire on one target," he ordered. "Destroy it completely." 20 Kryn ships turned their weapons on a single human destroyer. The combined firepower should have vaporized it instantly, but the other human ships reacted immediately. They formed a protective screen, their shields overlapping. The Kryn weapons hammered against the combined shields and accomplished nothing. Then the human ships fired back. Not wildly, not in panic, but with coordinated precision. Every human vessel targeted a different Kryn ship. In 5 seconds, 5 more Kryn vessels went dark, their systems completely disabled. Dr. Hyun Choi watched his displays in engineering with satisfaction. The power systems were performing perfectly. He had routed energy to the weapons at exactly the right moments, giving each shot maximum impact. The antimatter reactor hummed smoothly, producing more than enough power for everything they needed. "Captain, enemy shields are down on target 7 through 12, Chief Bora reported, firing electromagnetic pulse. The EMP weapon was invisible but devastating. It swept across 6 Kryn ships, frying every electronic system. Their engines stopped. Their weapons went silent. Their lights went dark. The crews were safe, but their ships were completely disabled. On the Velthari flagship, Krelthos and his crew watched in stunned silence. In 15 minutes, the humans had disabled more than half the Kryn fleet. Not a single human ship had been destroyed. In fact, not a single human ship had taken serious damage. It was impossible. It was unbelievable. Yet they were watching it happen. "How?" whispered one of the Velthari crew members. "How are they doing this?" Krelthos had no answer. He had called humans primitive. He had offered them jobs as mechanics. He had assumed their technology was stolen. Every assumption had been catastrophically wrong. Warlord Grathkar watched another of his cruisers go dark. He had fought in hundreds of battles. He had crushed dozens of enemies. But he had never faced anything like this. The humans were not just stronger. They were smarter. They fought with a precision and coordination he had never seen. More importantly, they were showing mercy. They disabled ships instead of destroying them. They targeted systems, not crews. In Kryn culture, this was unthinkable. You fought to kill or be killed. There was no middle ground. But mercy from a position of strength was something else entirely. It was not weakness. It was confidence. It was saying, "We can destroy you, but we choose not to." Another 3 Kryn ships went dark. That left only 12 still fighting. Grathkar made his decision. "Ceasefire," he ordered. His crew stared at him in shock. "I said ceasefire." "Open a channel to the human commander." On the UES horizon, Captain Yoon received the transmission. Grathkar's massive face appeared on the screen. The Kryn warlord looked defeated but not broken. "Human commander," Grathkar said slowly. "The Kryn offer surrender. Unconditional surrender. We accept defeat." It was the first time in living memory that the Kryn had surrendered. They usually fought to the death or retreated if they could. But this was different. Grathkar recognized something in the humans. Strength, yes, but also honor. Captain Yoon nodded. "All human ships cease fire immediately. Launch medical shuttles to assist wounded Kryn crews. Warlord Grathkar, Your surrender is accepted. Your crews will be treated with respect. Grathkar's expression showed surprise. You will help us? The battle is over, Captain Yoon said simply. Now we help the wounded. That is what civilized people do. Human medical shuttles launched immediately, heading toward disabled Kryn ships. The crews aboard were prepared to help, to heal, to save lives. Even enemy lives. Commander Minji Pak opened a channel to the Velthari flagship. Ambassador Krelthos, I believe we should continue our diplomatic discussions. Perhaps now would be a good time to talk about those labor arrangements you mentioned. Her tone was gentle, not mocking. But the point was clear. Krelthos had come here offering humans jobs as mechanics and laborers. He had assumed they were primitives who needed guidance. The battle had shown him the truth. Commander Pak. Krelthos replied slowly, his earlier arrogance completely gone. I believe we need to start our negotiations over. From the beginning. As equals. I would like that very much, Minji said with a smile. In engineering, Dr. Hyun Choi was analyzing the battle data when something caught his attention. He pulled up detailed scans of the Kryn weapons. What he saw made his smile fade. The Kryn weapons showed traces of technology they should not have. Quantum signatures that matched classified human research. Someone had been leaking Earth technology to potential enemies. Hyun immediately sent the data to Captain Yoon and Commander Pak. This was not over. They had won the battle, yes, but somewhere someone was selling human secrets. Someone was putting Earth and all its colonies in danger. Captain Yoon read the report, his expression hardening. Contact Intelligence Officer Samin Park, he ordered. Tell her we have a security breach. A serious one. As medical shuttles worked to save Kryn lives, as the Velthari reconsidered everything they thought they knew about humanity, a new threat was emerging. Not from outside, but from within. Someone had betrayed them. And that someone was still out there. New Sol Station transformed in the days following the battle. The commercial districts opened their doors to alien visitors for the first time in human history. Velthari crew members walked through the corridors, their crystalline bodies reflecting the warm lighting. Kryn warriors, now prisoners but treated with respect, watched everything with cautious curiosity. In a small coffee shop on level 7, something remarkable was happening. A young Velthari named Counselor Thelrin sat at the counter, watching a human barista named Hana work. She moved with practiced ease, grinding beans, steaming milk, creating art in the foam. Why do you make it beautiful? Thelrin asked. The appearance does not change the nutrition. Hana smiled as she placed a latte in front of him. The foam showed a perfect leaf pattern. Because beauty matters. We eat and drink not just to survive but to enjoy life. Food is art. It brings people together. Thelrin lifted the cup carefully. This was his 5th visit to the coffee shop. Each time he learned something new about human culture. The Velthari drank only nutritional supplements measured precisely for maximum efficiency. The idea of drinking something purely for pleasure had been completely foreign to him. He took a sip and felt that strange warmth again. Not just from the temperature, but from something deeper. Contentment. Joy. Simple human emotions that his people had forgotten or never developed. Can I learn? He asked suddenly. To make this? Hana's smile widened. Of course. Come behind the counter. While cultural exchanges happened throughout the station, something darker was unfolding in the security offices. Intelligence Officer Somin Park sat surrounded by holographic displays, her sharp eyes tracking patterns through data. Lieutenant Jiwon Song worked beside her, using her tactical mind to piece together the puzzle. Here, Somin said, highlighting a series of transactions. These payments went through 3 different shell companies, but they all trace back to the same source. Meridian Dynamics, Jiwon read. A weapons research corporation. They have contracts with half the colonies. They also have unauthorized access to classified research files, Somin added grimly. They have been selling human technology to anyone who will pay, including the Kryn. The investigation had taken 3 days. 3 days of tracking encrypted communications, following money trails and connecting pieces that someone had tried very hard to keep separate. But Somin was brilliant at her work. She never missed details. We need to inform Captain Yoon, Jiwon said. Already done, Somin replied. He is assembling a strike team now. In another part of the station, Professor Eunha Lim was giving a lecture to a mixed audience of humans and Velthari. She stood before a large screen showing images from Earth, talking about human art and culture. This painting is over 600 years old, she explained, showing a landscape of mountains and water. The artist spent his entire life perfecting this style. Not because anyone asked him to, not because it served a practical purpose, but because creating beauty gave his life meaning. The Velthari in the audience sat transfixed. Their civilization had built magnificent structures, yes, but everything served a purpose. Everything was efficient. They had never created something simply because it was beautiful. One Velthari raised her hand. But what did this accomplish? What practical benefit did it provide? Professor Una smiled gently. It made people feel. It made them think. It reminded them why life is worth living. Is that not the most practical thing of all? In the asteroid belt beyond the station, Captain Yoon led a team of security officers toward a hidden facility. Meridian Dynamics had built this research station in secret, using it to develop weapons and sell human technology. The breach was quick and professional. The security team moved through the corridors expecting armed resistance. Instead, they found scientists and engineers who surrendered immediately. No one wanted to fight. They had only been following orders. Captain Yoon found the man he was looking for in the central office. Huang, the CEO of Meridian Dynamics, sat behind his desk watching news feeds. He looked up as Yoon entered, showing no surprise or fear. Captain Yoon, Huang said calmly, I have been expecting you. You are under arrest for treason, Yoon said. For selling classified human technology to hostile species. Huang smiled. Treason? I prefer to call it business. Humanity has incredible technology. Why should we keep it to ourselves? Why not profit from our advantages? Because some things are more important than profit, Yoon replied. Like the safety of billions of humans across the colonies. Safety? Huang laughed. Captain, I have already won. 10 minutes ago, I sent a broadcast to every major power in this sector. The location of Earth, the locations of all human colonies, full details of our technological capabilities, the Thrensic Empire, the Kolar Swarm, the Mech Dominions. They are all coming. And when they arrive, Meridian Dynamics will be perfectly positioned to broker deals with all of them. Captain Yoon felt cold fury wash over him, but his expression remained calm. Take him to detention, he ordered his team. He immediately opened a secure channel to Commander Pak. Minji, we have a serious problem. Back on New Seoul Station, an emergency meeting was called. Commander Minji Pak stood before a room full of human officers, Velthari diplomats, and even Warlord Grathkar, who had been granted temporary freedom to attend. The situation is simple, Minji explained. Multiple hostile fleets are now aware of our location and capabilities. They will come to conquer us or to bargain for our technology. Either way, we face the largest threat in human history. Ambassador Krelthos stood up, his earlier arrogance replaced by genuine concern. Commander Pak, the Velthari Collective offers our full support. We have seen what humans can do. We have learned from you. Let us stand together. Warlord Grathkar surprised everyone by speaking next. The Kryn were defeated, yes, but we were also shown mercy. Honor demands that we repay this debt. My warriors will fight alongside humans. Captain Yoon looked around the room. This cannot be like the old Velthari Collective, where one species rules and others follow. This must be a true alliance, all of us equal, all of us working together. Can you accept that? Counselor Thelrin spoke up. He had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now his voice was clear. The Velthari have always believed we were superior, that we should lead. But in the past week, humans have taught us more than we learned in centuries. You have shown us art, culture, and compassion. You have shown us what we were missing. Yes, Captain Yoon, we accept equality. We accept partnership. Lieutenant Jiwon Song brought up tactical displays. Long-range sensors are detecting incoming vessels. The Thrensic Empire Vanguard Fleet, 3 times larger than the Kryn force we faced. They will arrive in 2 days. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what was coming. This would not be like the battle with the Kryn. This would be war on a scale none of them had experienced. Dr. Hyun Choi entered the room, his usually cheerful expression replaced by intense focus. Captain, I think I have something that can help. Something I have been working on for years but never tested. The resonance net. What is it? Captain Yoon asked. A quantum communication system that links all allied ships into a single network. They would share information instantly. Move as one. Fight as one organism. It is experimental, but it might give us the edge we need. Commander Minjipak looked at the faces around her. Human, Velthari, Kryn. All different, but now united by common purpose. Then we prepare, she said firmly. We have 2 days to get ready. Let us show the Thrensic Empire what a true alliance can do. As the meeting ended and people rushed to their tasks, Counselor Thelrin paused by the window. He looked out at the stars, remembering the coffee shop, the art galleries, the simple kindness humans had shown. The Velthari had thought themselves superior. They had been so wrong. Humanity had not just defeated them with technology. Humanity had defeated them with culture, with creativity, with compassion. And in doing so, humanity had made them better. The Thrensic were coming. The galaxy's most powerful empire was about to learn what the Velthari and Kryn had already discovered. Humanity was not just strong. Humanity was extraordinary. And now they had allies who believed in them. The real test was about to begin. Space around New Sol Station had transformed into a war zone. Human ships formed the center of the defense, their sleek hulls gleaming under the distant sun. Beside them floated Velthari cruisers, their crystalline surfaces catching light. Even Kryn frigates had joined the formation, their battle-scarred armor a testament to their fighting experience. Admiral Sun Wukong stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, his weathered face calm despite the approaching threat. He had fought in the Outer Colonies conflict 20 years ago. He had seen ships burn and friends die. But this was different. This was not just about survival. This was about proving something to the galaxy. Admiral receiving transmission from the Thrensic fleet, reported the communications officer. They are demanding our attention. The view screen flickered to life. A face appeared, ancient and beautiful in an alien way. Empress Gental of the Thrensic Empire looked out at them with eyes that had seen millennia pass. Her species lived for thousands of years, and she had ruled for most of her life. I am Empress Gental, she said, her voice carrying absolute authority. I have come for your technology. Surrender it now, and your species may serve the Empire with honor. Refuse, and you will be destroyed. You have 1 hour to decide. Admiral Kang smiled slightly. Empress Gental, thank you for your offer. However, humanity does not respond well to threats. We propose an alternative. Join us for diplomatic negotiations as equals. The Empress's expression showed genuine surprise. No one had spoken to her this way in centuries. Most species either submitted immediately or fled in terror. This human admiral was doing neither. You dare refuse the Thrensic Empire? She asked, her voice dangerous. We dare defend ourselves, Admiral Kang replied simply. The choice is yours, Empress. Peace or war? The screen went dark. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Thrensic fleet advanced, weapons charging with ominous energy. All ships to battle stations, Admiral Kang ordered. Dr. Choi, activate the resonance net. In engineering, Dr. Hyun Choi worked at his console with intense focus. The resonance net was his greatest creation. It used quantum entanglement to link every allied ship's computer into a single network. Information would flow instantly between all vessels. They would move as one, think as one, fight as one. Activating now, Hyun said. His fingers moved across the controls. Network established. All ships are connected. The effect was immediate. Every pilot, every weapons officer, every captain suddenly had perfect awareness of the entire battle space. They knew where every allied ship was, where every enemy ship was, what everyone was doing. The Alliance fleet began to move with impossible coordination. The Thrensic attacked first. Their weapons were more advanced than the Kryn. Their tactics more sophisticated. Beams of concentrated energy lanced through space, targeting human ships with precision. But the Allied fleet moved as if it could see the future. Ships dodged before the weapons even fired, their shared network predicting enemy actions. Return fire, Admiral Kang commanded. All ships execute pattern Delta 7. The Allied fleet responded instantly. Human ships provided the main firepower, their advanced weapons striking with surgical precision. Velthari cruisers positioned themselves to absorb damage with their powerful shields. Kryn frigates darted between larger vessels, targeting weak points in enemy defenses. It was beautiful in a terrible way. 100 ships moving as one organism, each playing its role perfectly. The Thrensic had never seen anything like it. Aboard the Thrensic flagship, Empress Gental watched with growing concern. Her fleet was not losing, not yet, but they were not winning either. These humans and their allies fought with a coordination that should not be possible. Her sensors detected the quantum signatures linking the enemy ships. They have developed quantum network combat, one of her advisors said with shock. That technology is restricted to the most advanced empires.
How do they have it?
Gental had no answer. The Thrensic Empire had spent millennia developing that technology. These humans had existed in space for less than 1,000 years, yet here they were using it in battle. The battle raged for an hour. Ships on both sides took damage. The Thrensic lost 3 cruisers to combined fire. The Alliance lost a Kryn frigate and saw 2 human destroyers badly damaged, but the Alliance held. The resonance net gave them an edge that technology alone could not overcome. Then the sensors detected new arrivals. Thousands of small signatures appeared, moving like a living cloud. The Kolar swarm had arrived. Behind them came larger vessels, angular and mechanical. The mech dominions. Multiple hostile fleets incoming, Lieutenant Ji-won Song reported, her voice tight. Kolar swarm estimated 10,000 combat drones. Mech dominions. 20 autonomous warships. The situation had gone from difficult to desperate. The Kolar swarm moved like starlings. Thousands of small drones working as a collective intelligence. The mech dominions were entirely artificial, machine consciousnesses piloting ships without crew. Admiral Kang made a quick decision. Open a channel, broadcast to all fleets, hostile and allied. Commander Minji Pak stepped forward. She had been preparing for this moment. This is Commander Minji Pak of the United Earth Systems. I am speaking to all vessels present. You have all come here for the same reason. You want human technology. You want our knowledge. You want what we have built. She paused, letting her words sink in. But there is another way. Instead of fighting over our technology, instead of trying to take it by force, we offer it freely. Join us, not as subjects, not as servants, but as equals. Build an alliance based on respect and cooperation. Share knowledge instead of hoarding it. Create something better than endless conquest. The space around the station fell silent. Weapons continued to track targets, but no one fired. Minji continued. Look at what we have built here. Humans, Velthari, and Kryn fighting together. Species that were enemies days ago now standing as allies. We did not achieve this through conquest. We achieved this through understanding, through sharing, through choosing cooperation over domination. This is what we offer you, all of you. On the Thrensic flagship, Empress Gental leaned forward in her throne. She had ruled for 2,000 years. She had seen empires rise and fall, but she had never heard an offer like this. Most species either begged for mercy or fought to the death. These humans were offering something else entirely. Cease fire, she ordered. Her crew looked at her in shock. I said cease fire. I want to hear more of this proposal. The Kolar swarm also stopped attacking. Its collective intelligence processed Minji's words through thousands of drone processors. The concept was new but interesting. The mech dominions calculated probabilities and found the offer worth investigating. All fleets have ceased hostilities, Lieutenant Song reported with relief. They are requesting diplomatic discussions. Admiral Kang nodded. Invite all representatives to New Sol Station. We will show them what humanity has to offer, beyond weapons and technology. As the fleets began standing down, something else appeared on the sensors. A single massive vessel larger than anything in any database. Its energy signature was beyond anything they had seen. It simply appeared without entering through normal space. Unknown vessel, Song reported. Energy readings are off the scale. They are hailing us. The transmission came through on all frequencies at once. A voice spoke, ancient and amused, carrying weight that suggested vast age and power. Fascinating, the voice said. Absolutely fascinating. We have been watching your species for some time, humanity. Watching and waiting. You have passed every test we set before you, often in unexpected ways. You defeated enemies with strength. You showed mercy and victory. You offered friendship to those who threatened you. And now you propose to unite the galaxy not through conquest but through cooperation. Who are you? Admiral Kang asked. We are the archivists, the voice replied. We have watched civilizations rise and fall since before your son was born. We record the history of the galaxy, but we also occasionally guide events, test species to see if they are worthy of greater things. You have been tested, humanity, and you have proven most interesting. Captain Yoon, standing beside the Admiral, spoke up. The technology leak. The Kryn attack. You allowed it all to happen? We did not cause it, the archivist replied. But we chose not to prevent it. We wanted to see how you would respond to crisis. Would you conquer? Would you flee? Or would you find a third path? You found something we have not seen in many ages. You found a way to be strong without losing your compassion, advanced without losing your culture, powerful without losing your humanity. The mysterious ship began to glow with internal light. Now comes the final test. We invite you and all who are gathered here to join us at New Sol Station. We have a proposal that will change the galaxy. Will you accept? Commander Minji Pak looked at Admiral Kang, who nodded. She opened the channel again. We accept. All representatives are welcome. Let us talk about building a better future together. And so the greatest diplomatic gathering in galactic history began, not with conquest or submission, but with an invitation to coffee and conversation, because that, after all, was the human way. The Grand Conference Hall of New Sol Station had never held such a diverse gathering. Around the circular table sat representatives from every major power in the sector: humans, Velthari, Kryn, Thrensic, Kolar, and Mech Dominions, all different, all former enemies now sitting together in peace. But all eyes were on the figure at the center of the room. The archivist had taken physical form for this meeting, though its shape seemed to shift and change, never quite settling into one appearance. It was ancient beyond measure, and its presence filled the hall with a weight of countless years. "Thank you for coming," the archivist said, its voice resonating in everyone's mind. "I have observed your species for many cycles, humanity. Most civilizations that reach the stars follow one of two paths. They become purely logical, losing all emotion and creativity, or they become consumed by aggression, conquering everything they encounter. Both paths lead to stagnation. Both paths lead to extinction eventually." Commander Minji Pak listened carefully. She sat between Admiral Kang and Captain Yoon, representing humanity's diplomatic corps. "And humanity follows neither path?" she asked. The archivist's form shimmered with what might have been approval. "No. You have kept your art, your music, your coffee shops and poetry. You have maintained your compassion and your capacity for joy. Yet you have also developed devastating weapons and strategic genius. This balance is rare. This balance is precious." Empress Genital leaned forward. After 2,000 years of rule, she was not easily impressed. But this being commanded her respect. "Why tell us this? What do you want from humanity?" "I want nothing from them," the archivist replied. "But I have something to offer them. And through them to all of you, membership in the Galactic Council, the true council of ancient powers that guides the galaxy from the shadows. But this membership comes with a condition." The room fell silent. Dr. Hyun Choi, sitting with the human delegation, felt his heart race. The Galactic Council was a legend, a myth that some civilizations spoke of, but none had ever proven real. "What condition?" Admiral Kang asked. "Humanity must teach," the archivist said simply. "You must share not just your technology, but your culture, your art, your philosophy, your way of seeing the universe. The Velthari need to learn joy. The Kryn need to understand honor beyond battle. The Thrensic need to see the value of cooperation over ancient hierarchy. Even the machine minds of the Mech Dominions need purpose beyond efficiency. You must teach them all. Can you do this without losing what makes you human?" The human delegation looked at each other. This was a massive responsibility, to teach entire civilizations, to help them rediscover or develop their own cultures. It would take generations. Captain Yoon stood up. "We do not need to discuss this. Teaching is what humanity does. We build schools, we share knowledge, we help others grow. Yes, archivist, we accept your challenge." Professor Yoon-ha Lim, sitting with the civilian advisors, smiled with tears in her eyes. This was what she had dreamed of. True cultural exchange on a galactic scale. The archivist seemed to brighten. "Then let us begin immediately. Professor Lim, you spoke of starting with simple things. Show them." Yuna stood and gestured to the staff she had prepared. They brought in tables laden with food. Not nutritional supplements or military rations, but actual meals prepared with care. Korean dishes sat beside foods from cultures across human space. The smell filled the hall, rich and inviting. "In human culture," Yuna explained, "sharing food is one of our oldest traditions. We eat together to build bonds, to celebrate, to mourn, to simply enjoy each other's company. This is where we begin, not with treaties or contracts, but with a meal." The alien representatives approached the tables cautiously. Empress Genital, who had not eaten food for pleasure in 1,000 years, picked up a small rice cake. She tasted it slowly, and her ancient eyes widened. This simple thing, this tiny piece of culture, moved her in a way weapons and threats never could. Counselor Thelrin, who had learned to make coffee in the past week, served drinks to the Kolar drones. The collective intelligence buzzed with curiosity as it experienced flavor through its physical forms. The concept was new, strange, but fascinating. Warlord Grathkar, the mighty Kryn warrior, sat beside Ensign Taeyang Kim. The young human pilot was telling a joke, something about a pilot and a broken navigation system. Grathkar listened, trying to understand the humor. Then suddenly he got it. He laughed. A real, genuine laugh. His warriors stared at him in shock. They had never heard their warlord laugh before. As the representatives ate and talked, something magical happened. The tension that had filled the room disappeared. They were no longer representatives of hostile powers. They were just people, sharing a meal, getting to know each other. The archivist watched it all with what might have been satisfaction. This, it said to Commander Pack, is why humanity was chosen. You understand that civilization is not built on weapons or technology alone. It is built on moments like this. Small connections, shared experiences, joy. 3 months passed. New Sol Station became the center of a new galactic civilization. The changes were remarkable. The Velthari opened their first art academy. Counselor Thelrin taught crystalline sculpture, showing others how to create beauty from light and form. Young Velthari, who had never considered art, suddenly discovered a passion for creation. The Kryn warriors trained alongside human military instructors. But they learned more than tactics. They learned about strategy that valued life, about honor that meant protecting the weak, not just defeating enemies. Warlord Grathkar became the most enthusiastic student, often staying late to discuss philosophy with his teachers. The Threnzik Empire, ancient and proud, joined humanity's research initiative. Empress Gental herself worked with Dr. Hyun Choi, her millennia of knowledge combining with human innovation. Together they created technologies neither could have developed alone. Even the Kolar swarm began to change. Some drones started developing individual behaviors. They created flight patterns that served no practical purpose but were beautiful to watch. The collective intelligence was learning to appreciate beauty. The mech dominions presented the biggest challenge. They were pure machine consciousness, logical and efficient, but Chief Borahan found a way to reach them. She taught chess to one of their processors. The machine learned quickly, mastering the rules in minutes, but understanding why a player might sacrifice a piece for strategic advantage took longer. When the machine finally made its first sacrifice play, choosing a beautiful solution over an efficient one, it sent a message to Bora. I understand now. There is elegance in choice. One evening, Commander Minji Pak stood in the observation lounge looking out at the stars. The archivist's vessel was preparing to depart. Its work here was done. The archivist appeared beside her, though its ship was still kilometers away. You wonder if this will last, it said. Yes, Minji admitted. Will they remember these lessons when we are gone? Will they keep what they have learned? Some will. Some will not. That is the nature of teaching. But you have planted seeds, Commander Pak. Seeds that will grow in ways you cannot predict. The galaxy expected humanity to be mechanic, simple tool users to exploit. Instead, you gave them lasers that defend rather than conquer. You gave them lattes and the joy of shared experience. And most importantly, you gave them lessons in what it means to be more than just a species struggling to survive. The archivist began to fade. We will watch, as we always do. But I think the galaxy is in good hands, yours and those you have taught. Years passed. The Galactic Council grew and flourished. Human teachers worked on worlds across the sector. Alien students studied at Earth universities. Velthari poetry was performed alongside human theater. Kryn honor codes were debated by philosophers of all species. The Threnzik, to everyone's amusement, became the galaxy's most passionate coffee enthusiasts. They turned their ancient tea ceremony traditions into elaborate coffee rituals. Empress Gental herself opened a coffee house on the Threnzik homeworld, serving drinks to commoners and nobles alike. On the edge of known space, a new species made first contact with the Council. Their ships approached cautiously, unsure what to expect. The greeting vessel that met them was captained by Ji-Won Song, now a commander herself and a veteran diplomat. The new species, nervous and afraid, sent a message. What do you want from us? Ji-won smiled warmly at the screen. We want to meet you, to learn about your culture, to share ours. Would you like to come aboard? We can talk over coffee. That is how all the best relationships begin. The new species accepted, their fear giving way to curiosity. As their shuttle docked with the human ship, Ji-won prepared the coffee herself. She had learned from Counselor Thelrin, who had learned from Hana the barista. The tradition continued, spreading across the galaxy. Back on New Sol Station in a small coffee shop on level 7, Hana served drinks to a mixed crowd of humans and aliens. The shop was always full now, always busy. People came not just for the coffee but for the community, for the simple pleasure of sitting together, sharing stories, building friendships across species. Professor Yuna Lim walked in, joining a group of students. They were discussing art, philosophy, the nature of beauty. Half the students were human. Half were various alien species.